Привет всем. Сегодня я разговариваю с Артем Назаров. Мы будем изучать что-то грамматику русскую вместе. So, hi, Artem. Thanks for joining us. We're looking at some Russian grammar today.
My pleasure.
Cool. Okay. So we're going to look at some of the basics, real basics. So nouns, adjectives, verbs. Okay. So I think this is similar between English and Russian. A noun is like a person, place, or a thing, or a concept. So what are some examples you can think of nouns in Russian?
Машина, окно, девушка, хлеб.
Okay. And from what I know with Russian grammar, those words that you gave us, they have different gender. So a grammatical gender. So there's masculine, there's feminine, and there's neuter. So masculine is мужской род.
Да.
Feminine is женский род. And neuter is средний род.
Средний род.
Okay. So what were some of the examples you said for the masculine, the мужской род?
Мужской род дом, например. Женский род девушка. И средний род окно.
Okay. Good. Okay. So I need to keep those words kind of separate in my head to know if they're masculine, feminine, or neuter. Okay. Let's move on to some adjectives. So adjectives, these describe nouns. So what are some examples that you could think of for adjectives?
Большой, красивый, новый.
Okay, so that's big, beautiful, and new. Okay. In English, we don't change the adjectives. We don't have like adjective agreement with nouns, but many other languages have at least masculine and feminine. In this case, Russian, masculine, feminine, neuter. And other languages, they have to adapt to whether a noun is singular or plural. So in Russian, you need to do all of that. So let's combine some of these examples with an adjective and a noun, with masculine and an adjective and noun in feminine, and an adjective and noun in neuter.
Большой дом, красивая машина, большое окно, новое окно.
Okay, let me see if I can think of some examples as well. I know in Moscow there's the Bolshoi Theater, so that's the big theater, or the grand theater. Новая книга, a new book. And let's say хороший, like good wine. Okay.
Хорошее вино.
Can you say that again?
Хорошее вино.
Хорошее вино. Okay. Thank you. And if we need to make these words plural, so we have dom. Is that доме?
Большие дома. Дома.
Дома. Okay.
Дома.
Большие дома. Красивые машины.
Красивые машины.
И новые окна.
Новые окна.
Окна. Okay. Окна.
Новые окна.
Новые окна. Okay. So we'll write some of these examples with this video. And then we'll move on to verbs. So verbs are basically actions. What are some examples you can think of?
Ходить, думать, видеть, слышать.
I can think also говорить, Понимать,
Говорить.
читать. So those what I said with to speak, to understand, to read. I think you said to go. What else did you say?
Слушать.
To listen or to hear. I think yes.
Listen.
Okay.
Думать.
Okay.
Think.
To think. Okay. So in the present tense, we have to conjugate those verbs. So could you take a couple of those verbs for the first person, like я, like I speak, I understand, I read?
Я говорю, я понимаю, я читаю.
Okay. And if we want to make those negative, what do you have to say?
Я не говорю, я не понимаю, я не... Что там было? Не читаю, я не читаю.
Okay. Okay. Now, can I combine some of these adjectives and nouns with the verbs? So let's say, я вижу новый дом. I see a new house. And also, Russian doesn't have articles, so there's no difference between or the. There is no article. Okay.
Ну, в русском нет артиклей.
Okay. Okay. So I can say я вижу новый дом. Is it correct to say я читаю хорошая книга?
Нет, я читаю хорошую книгу.
Okay. So technically what's going on here is when I use a verb like to read or to see as a transitive verb, I need the accusative case, which is because Russian has 6 cases to demonstrate the use or the function of a noun in a sentence. So anytime I use a direct object as a part of a transitive verb, I need to make some changes. However, for Russian grammar, it gets a little complicated because you need to keep in mind whether a noun is inanimate or animate. So inanimate is whether you're talking about things like a book, a table, a car, or a window. Those are things. Or you're talking about people and some certain animals like a cat or a dog or a man, a woman, a boy, a girl. So when you're using transitive verbs with inanimate objects, so those are things, like I see a house, I see a window, you technically repeat the nominative case. So like that is a window, I see a window, so это окно, я вижу окно. I don't change it. But when I have a feminine word like book or car or woman, so книга, машина, женщина, I have to use the accusative case ending. So this usually is something like u or you, or so knigu is the accusative case of book. Miashino is the accusative for car, and женщину is the accusative for woman. So like это женщина, that's a woman, and я вижу женщину. Это книга, я читаю книгу. И это машина, я вижу машину. So you need to make a change with that. And in the case of animate nouns, for example, men or a man or a boy, this gets complicated even further. You need to use the genitive case. the accusative uses the genitive. So if I see, let's say, if I say my friend, mój drug, if I say I see my friend, I have to say я вижу моего друга.
Я вижу моего друга.
If I see my father, mój отец. I have a hesitation here. What the genitive is? Is this моего отца or отце?
Моего отца. Моего отца.
Отца. Okay. Yeah. Я вижу моего отца. Okay. That, if you like mental gymnastics, Russian is excellent for that. To go between nominative, accusative, genitive. So it's like playing mental chess, just to make a simple sentence. But, okay. If I want to talk to you and I want to conjugate some of these verbs, so like I could ask you, you speak, you understand, you see. What would that be?
Ты говоришь, ты понимаешь, ты видишь.
And if I want to make that a question, do I have to add an auxiliary verb?
Нет, просто просто меняется интонация. Ты видишь, ты говоришь, ты понимаешь.
Okay, so just raise the voice and you can turn a sentence into a question. Okay, so so I could ask you, do you see the new house? Ты видишь новый дом?
Да, то есть intonation is changing.
Ты говоришь по-русски?
Ты говоришь по-русски?
Okay. Ты говоришь по-русски? Okay, I have to work on my intonation with that. Okay. And and if I want to ask you a question like what do you see? This gets kind of tricky because the word what, or it depends on the case. So if I want to ask like what is that? It's like okay, что это? If I want to ask like who is that? Кто это? But if I ask you like what do you see? What or who do you see? Что ты видишь? And to ask кто, like who, you actually have to change this to the genitive to use it in the accusative. So кого ты видишь? So who do you see? Кого ты видишь? Okay. So I think we can stop there before we scare too many people away from studying Russian. But if you can get any of this filtered and sorted out in your head, ты молодец, you're awesome. So keep up with it. I mean, it took me a couple months, a couple years to be able to get all of this correct in my head. And now I can start making sentences. So don't give up. Keep at it. But so thank you very much. Большое спасибо, Artyom, за помощь, for your help. What is your website?
My site is yaziki.com. It's YAZIKY. It's basically about languages in general.
Okay. And do you have a VK page?
I have a VK page, and it's the same, Yaziki. That's
okay.
it.
I'll include a link there with this video. But I think this is a good start for people, or even a good review for some of the basics with nouns, adjectives, and verbs, and kind of putting them together in the nominative, accusative, and a little bit of the genitive. So we can provide some notes with this video, and we'll keep an eye on some of the comments. So thank you very much for watching. And check out Artyom's website. And if you have any questions about Russian grammar, we'll be happy to help you. Okay.
Да.
Большое спасибо. So,
Мгм.
I'll say пока, and
Пока.
до встречи, до свидания. Okay, stop that.